So now I would love to welcome our panelists to the stage. And while everyone is getting ready and turning on their cameras, I would love to introduce each one. So first we're going to have Hoon Soh. He is the special representative for the World Bank Korea office. Next, we have Jeehye Kim, an agricultural economist at the World Bank. We also have Parmesh Shah. He's the global lead for rural livelihoods and agricultural jobs at the World Bank. And Phillip Baek. He is the regional head of business development at CJ Corporation. And of course, the panel will be moderated by Mike Zantz, who you saw earlier. So welcome, everybody. And I hope that you can turn your cameras on and your microphones on.
Thank you, Harvey. I've already presented Plug and Play, so everyone knows me, but we'll just go around the room so everyone can introduce themselves. So we'll start with Parmesh Shah, who has a global responsibility at the World Bank. So Parmesh, we'd love to hear about yourself and your responsibilities at the World Bank.
Thanks, Mike, and good evening and good morning, everyone. I'm Parmesh Shah. I'm the global lead for data-driven digital agriculture at the World Bank. And my role is to really foster innovation systems and innovation ecosystems around agriculture and food and increase the rate of disruption in the industry. And we do this primarily by really enhancing the work with startups and the organizations like the ones we heard in Korea today, and then increase the rate of incubation and acceleration in various countries around the world. And we also then facilitate the learning between the places where there are advanced applications coming up because of availability of technology and data, and then bring it to other countries in Africa, Asia, and in also Middle East, North Africa, and other countries. We currently are working on these digital innovative solutions across 26 countries around the world. And we really look forward to this collaboration between the Korean ecosystem, Plug and Play, and the World Bank. Thank you.
Thank you, Parmesh. Thank you for your support and this partnership on the webinar. Next, I'd like Hoon, if you can introduce yourself and your responsibilities within the World Bank in Korea. The floor is yours.
Sure. Can you hear me? So first of all, let me thank Plug and Play for inviting myself and our World Bank colleagues to today's seminar or webinar. My name is Hoon Soh. I'm the head of the World Bank Group Office in Korea. So this encompasses the World Bank, but also our IFC and NIGA colleagues, which work, I guess, more directly with the private sector. And basically, our office works in various areas, such as we have programs and teams on financial sector development, in green innovation, which encompasses the energy sector, such as renewables, energy efficiency, environment, and urban development. We also have a team that specializes in supporting fragile states and also finally on knowledge management. But the office has actually been recently approved and to focus on innovation and technology. So basically, we will become an international hub on innovation and technology. And of course, being located in Korea, we will in particular work with Korean startups, Korean investors that can provide innovative and technology-enabled solutions to our clients in developing countries and also our bank projects. So I see our primary role at the World Bank office in Korea to create a platform that can match technology solutions provided from not just Korea, but from East Asia globally. So for instance, we will work closely with our agriculture partners in Africa to help them access and work with and explore technology solutions, perhaps hopefully some of them supported by Plug and Play in the future to the benefit of our clients in developing countries. Thanks.
Thank you, Hoon. That's super exciting. Okay, let's move on next to Jeehye, who has an agriculture responsibility within the World Bank. Please introduce yourself and your responsibilities at the World Bank.
Yes, thank you. My name is Jeehye Kim. I'm an economist. So I specialize in developing, identifying, evaluating digital and disruptive agriculture technologies at the bank. I have been working in this domain for the last, more focused on this for the last 5-6 years. And I lead research and operations at the bank. So research in this area, especially in the last 3 years, we formed a very strong team to look at the Agritech startup ecosystem in Sub-Saharan Africa. And in fact, we have just published a seminal report on this. And Parmesh is the lead co-authors of this report. I will make the link to this report available in the chat window. So we looked at all the existing exhaustive list of African agri-tech startups. And then we also looked at the typology of more successful and acceleratable agri-tech startups. And that really opened our eyes in terms of opportunities to partner with, Korea office, for example, as the innovation hub, and also Korean's private sector. And in fact, last year we were in Seoul doing a digital agriculture, disruptive agriculture technology roadshow. So that's the research part. And operationally, as Diego actually provided a very good background, our main work is providing developmental loans to our client countries. And so I lead projects in East and South African countries. And there we embed these disruptive agriculture technologies and also engage local agri-tech startups to provide state-of-the-art technology-driven developmental interventions. So I'm really glad to join as a panelist today, and I really look forward to making more connections with Korean private sector players and also the AgTech startups. Really glad to see also the Life Care who came to World Bank during the Korea Innovation Week, and also Enthing who also came to our roadshow last year, and even before that we've been engaging with the CEO. So thank you.
That's great. Thank you so much for your support and participation. Okay, next we'll introduce Philip from one of our corporate partners from CJ Corporation, a very large conglomerate, the largest food company also in Korea. So Philip, it's been great working with you guys at CJ over the last year. Please introduce yourself and your responsibilities within the CJ group.
Hi, thank you, World Bank and Plug and Play for giving us this opportunity to introduce CJ and what we're doing in this field of working with innovative startups. Just to give you a bit of information and introductory overview of our company. Ever since the company was founded in 1953, we have expanded our business and the product categories. And now we are producing over 3,000 products and SKUs. And in terms of regions, we are operating in 9 different countries with almost 40 different manufacturing sites and exporting to 50 plus over country worldwide now. And our company's goal is to provide a food that is safe and healthy, of course. And it is all possible by using, I think, agriculture products that are produced with a safe and healthy and sustainable technology. So from this perspective, innovation in agriculture is very important, and we are actively exploring partnership globally and locally with the startups. And we are also open to any investment opportunity if it's necessary. I think agriculture and food industry is one of the largest in size. I think it's even larger than automotive or semiconductor market in Korea as a single industry. But it's also, I mean, maybe some guys may not agree, but I think it's one of the least advanced or falling behind area, but it is at the same time, it is also meaning that it creating huge potentials and there's a huge untapped opportunity for innovation and growth. So I am in charge of open innovation within the company, and I'm actively looking for the company with the innovative technology. Thank you.
Thank you, Philip, and great segue. I think there's a lot of opportunities in innovation in the food kind of supply chain, agri-food supply chain. So I'd love to hear everyone's perspective. What are the opportunities in the agri-food supply chain? And in spite of COVID and in spite of uncertainty, we all believe that there's great opportunities, but I'd love to hear from each of you where you see the opportunities in the market. So let's start with Parmesh.
Good to hear Philip's perspective, and I agree with Philip that the agriculture is the least disrupted sector. And I think all the developments which are happening in data and digital technologies have not permeated into agriculture. And I think this confluence of the technology solutions and the agriculture solutions is now required, because I think we are seeing more disruption in health and education than we are seeing in agriculture. So I strongly believe that we need an ecosystem, but I'm encouraged by COVID. It's not a right thing to say, but I think the rate of disruption during COVID, because of all the problems we have of social distancing and others, has forced people to look at digital solutions. And the feedback we are getting from all the innovators we are working with, in some cases, their work has almost increased by more than 50%, and some of them are thinking of doubling what they are doing. The areas where I see a lot of work is really bringing the data, devices, and digital technologies together. The kind of devices we looked at, these capsules in every car. Now we are looking at, there's some examples of what we are working globally. Is lately the smallholders never get access to tractors. They never get to care services. So we are looking at agtech companies which are Uberizing this environment, and to make sure that even a smallholder gets tractor within hours. It's like on demand. And similarly, a veterinary care provider. So we have two very innovative startups now in Africa, Hello Tractor and BG Cow, who are really transforming this industry completely and really taking it heads on. The second thing is the whole use of IoT sensors. I think sensors, the cost are coming down. And I think if we have water sensors, we have soil sensors, and we have the biosensors and all these things, then a lot of data will be collected at multiple nodes, and that will create it. So I think the work on data is going to expand significantly post-COVID. We are very interested in building the data platforms, which will lead to product and services innovation, and more startups could come in, because a lot of startups spend a lot of time on collecting data, and then they spend very less time on really doing innovation and then scaling up. So we at the World Bank would like to partner with this ecosystem, including the corporates and the innovators, which we know plug and play works like that, and so that we can invest in policies and enablers and ecosystems and the data platforms, so that the rate of innovation and disruption in the agriculture can come up. I think the appetite for post-COVID among the governments to invest in digital innovations is much higher, and we would like to take advantage of the Korean expertise which they have developed over a period of time, both in data and innovation, to percolate this to other countries. So anyone who is interested in working in other parts of the world, please get in touch with me or others at the bank, and we would like to see if you can co-invest in these innovations across the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Parmesh, and love your optimism on the market. We share the same sentiment at Plug and Play. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities that will come from this, and we're seeing a lot of great startups emerging due to the pandemic and that are increasing their importance. Would love to hear your perspective, Hoon, on opportunities in today's environment.
I'm not sure I'm the best person to answer this question. I'm not an agriculture expert. I mean, what I can say is that I look forward to working with Plug and Play with our colleagues in this area. I'm particularly interested in the agriculture area because I see a supply and demand mismatch and lots of opportunities. Having talked to our colleagues who work on Africa, for instance, Parmesh and Jeehye mentioned that they visited Korea. I believe actually they visited Korea twice last year to explore opportunities here. And so the bank office here, again, our role will be to facilitate that matching of supply and demand, not just with our Africa colleagues, but colleagues all over the world globally, East Asia, Africa, Eastern Europe, Middle East, all the regions that the bank have projects in. And we have thousands of projects, and many of those TTLs, or many of those who work on these projects, including in agriculture sector, but also in other areas, are very keen in understanding and exploring and working with technology providers to solve specific problems. So, we will be very problem oriented, and we'll focus on specific problems, whether in agriculture and other areas. And then we'll work with partners such as yourself to see who provides the most appropriate solutions for those problems.
Thank you, Hoon, and very excited about the opportunity to build this ecosystem together and move forward and enable these entrepreneurs to have a platform to be more successful. Next, let's move on to Jeehye. Would love to hear your perspective on this as well.
Yeah, I appreciate your question, and I see a lot of opportunities in every level, really. Case in point, we're talking to each other on this, and then we've not been really talking so vigorously around this topic, and it really hints us that at the macro level, we're looking at this crisis is giving us an urgent sort of wake-up call, or it really incumbents us to look at, opportunities to seek resilient agri-food system. That really encompasses all the players. At the bank, we're engaging with local entrepreneurs differently now. We've already accumulated some knowledge on them through our research, and then now we are looking at their competitive advantages. And one thing that is really clear is that because of this crisis, it actually became very easy for us to decipher who are likely to last and who are likely to, be no more. And it's interesting because last year we hosted 2 challenge events, one in Kenya and one in Uganda. And there, of course, it's a competition. So we've selected preferred candidates or winners out of that challenge with a very rigorous scoring method and very reputed jury members. However, it's not always the case that these people who've actually passed that stringent test is faring the best during this time. I'm actually getting WhatsApp messages and calls from the participants of this challenge who didn't actually win the prize, calling me that this is how they are faring. They're actually turning this crisis into business opportunities, and they're providing circulation to the supply chain, because during this crisis, let's face it, the supply chain of food and agriculture is maybe the single most value chain that is suffering. And the competitive advantage of these startups is that they can always go back to their drawing board and then rethink their business model without thinking too much about the sunk cost. And I think partners like us should really support when this crisis gives us this unprecedented opportunities to look at what they are made of, how resilient they are. So I would say this opportunity gives us the crisis gives us an opportunity to think about what are the core principles of the next generation disruptive ag techs and startups look like. What are our roles and responsibilities in terms of accelerating them, and also how we can then together answer the questions of rising inequality and income gap. So yeah, I see a lot of silver linings, and then I think we all can turn this into a blessing. At least I hope so.
I hope so. I think we have great opportunities ahead of us. Thank you for your perspective, Jeehye. Let's hear from CJ Corporation. Philip, do you share the sentiment of the World Bank? What are some of the opportunities you see in the market?
I think there's a lots of opportunity, as I mentioned before, that since there's a various untapped region in the agriculture industry, like AIs and big data and the blockchain to trace the, to increase the traceabilities and the trust within the consumers. There's a lot, but I think the one that I want to touch today is that kind of the issues that we're facing and how to solve the issue is that I mean there's some limitation that we're facing in the food and agriculture industry, as we may well very know and aware that within a couple of decades there's a huge problem with limited resource as the global population is reaching almost like 9.8 billion populations, and urbanization is increasing almost 70%, and also the food production that we have to produce to feed the world has to be increased by, I think, another 70%. So that means we need to grow like significantly more food with significantly less resource. So I mean, globally, and another issue is that globally, one third of what we produce is wasted, which is a very serious problem. And I mean, every year, like a lot of people, I heard like more than 600 million people globally get sick from contaminated foods, which is highlighting the challenges we're facing. So I think agriculture industry are all related with these kind of issues and related to solve this kind of problems, and that's why there's a lot of opportunities, and that's why we have this kind of webinar today. Like agriculture industry is a global movement by universities and companies, and lots of innovative startups who are participating today, and NGO or like institution like World Bank is putting together comprehensive research and developing novel technology to address all of these issues. So I appreciate it, and I'm very interested in that. And one of the areas that I'm kind of interested in looking into is innovation in food agriculture industries that kind of control environment agriculture. That is what Anything is kind of similar to the Anything startup. They have a smart farm and indoor farming. I think it is well coincide with kind of COVID-19 pandemic era situation. As it is clear, there's a clear demand and growing needs from the people who seeking for the clean food and safe food, and they want to know. Sometimes they want to do it by themselves in their garden or near where they live, and even kind of neighborhood. So if we can make this, if with the technology they can provide this kind of environment where people can cultivate or buy something from near their area to know where it is coming from and how the food is, whether it's safe or not, things like that. So I think it's that could translate to how we can produce our product, so then we can create more value to our consumers. So in that perspective, we're interested in that, and also culture meat, like alternative food that we are very, I think it's quite hot in these days, and we're seriously looking into the technology progress in technology, not just for the lab scale, but rather it is growing into a scalable size, maybe an economic scale size. So that one we are also interested to look into. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Philip, and thank you to all the panelists. I really enjoyed everyone's insights. We're excited to work to collaboratively build this ecosystem together and to do a lot more and seize the opportunities in today's environment. So thank you, everyone. With that, I will transition to the closing remarks and pass it to my colleague, Harvey.